All right, so let me remind you that this session is going to be recorded, and for the purposes of the Louisville Urban League, they would like for you to have your camera on during the session. However, it is not a requirement for your grade, so just making that clear. Okay, so today is Tuesday, June 1st, and so happy June to everyone. So this week we will be covering the number 2 Learn Computing Basics area on Blackboard. And so there's a lot of content, right? But we're hopefully going to be able to uh, minimize that or keep it very short, sweet, simple, to the point. Now, I will say that there are several students in the class who have already finished this entire unit. So kudos to you for getting that started and completed. Um, all of your assignments are available now. They have been available since last week, so you could, in effect, go at your own pace to complete all of the activities that are available in the class. Okay, so this week we're going to cover just some, simple sort of things that we can do to get started with learning about computers. And all of this information is already provided on Blackboard. And so we're just going to go through some of it. And plus, there will be some new information as well. Okay, just some new like tips and tricks. All right, so these are the things that we're going to cover today. We're going to give about 15 minutes to each. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to, raise your hand or speak. Turn your microphone on when you are ready to ask a question. All right. So we're going to begin with just learning the terminology. And that is really probably 85% of what you are going to, you know, learn about computers. Okay. That is, you got to know the terminology. Okay. Pointing to things, saying, oh, go up there, go down there. It may not necessarily be the best way to communicate. Just like with the English language, right? We don't necessarily um, we don't necessarily just say, just create our own words. There are standards, right, that we have in our language. So the same thing with computer terminology. All right. So first things first, hardware. We have what I would say, just to keep it simple, hardware is anything electrical. Um, it has to be something that you can feel and touch. And let me put a little parentheses around that. Electrical device that you can feel and touch. That basically says that's that's hardware. All right. And so that includes your system unit, your maybe you have a mini tower, or you have your laptop, right? That includes your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse, anything else that you can think of that is hardware that you experience on a daily basis that you can see and touch, feel and touch. And we can add it to this list. And I intentionally left stuff off so that we could, have a dialogue. Anyone want to, add to the list of hardware? If you're speaking, I can't hear you. So take yourself off of mute and add to the list. Okay. Well, seemingly we have no one that wants to add any information. So I'll start it off. Okay. What about a printer? Okay. Someone typed it in the chat. I see it. All right. Anything else that you have as far as something you can feel and touch that you use with your computer? So we have keyboard, mouse, printer. Anything else? Speakers. I see that in the chat. Okay. Awesome. Anything else? So we've added a list here, folks adding things to the chat, such as speakers, USB port, external hard drive, memory stick, headphones, graphics card, power supply. Okay, good job. Yeah, someone already put headphones. So awesome. That kind of gave us a start, right? So we started off with something very basic, things that, of course, we need, right? Can you imagine using a computer without a keyboard or a mouse? Like, what would you do? Okay. Um, but we'll get to examples of that, believe it or not. Okay. So just the very basic, something you can feel and touch. And then software, anything that you can see and interact with using a monitor. All right. We don't necessarily see um, the instructions or the code, the programming code that's used to, write the software that we use, right? So the way that we interact with it is we see it on the monitor, right? We see it on our monitor. So when we click on an icon, whether that's on our taskbar, of course, is that little black bar at the bottom of our screen that kind of stays there, and it has the clock on it on the right side. Okay. So our taskbar has icons and our desktop has icons as well. Okay. Now, all of those icons lead to some instructions, and instructions are basically your software, instructions that were created by a programmer to solve a specific problem. Okay, so we have our operating system's desktop. That's the starting point. So when we power up our computer, that's that colorful thing that we see, especially if you're using a Windows 10, um, or Windows desktop. You're going to see, you know, colors popping all over the place, right? Very catchy. And most often than not, it's going to have a few icons initially on the desktop. Okay. And then, of course, we can pull other um, icons to our desktop or to our taskbar and basically create a shortcut to those applications. Okay. So some examples, and let me switch my screen here so that we can actually go to the desktop. Now, what you see me doing is basically minimizing all of the windows that are open. Anytime you see a square box on, on your monitor, most often than not, that's going to be an open window or an active window. Okay. And so when you use that little line in the upper right hand corner of the window, that minimizes or basically takes down your window from being active on screen to still being available, but you're just making it smaller. Okay. So what it does is it disappears into the taskbar. How do I know that? If I roll my mouse pointer over the taskbar, the little icons on the taskbar, it sort of tells me what's open. Okay. So it shows me a little window. Okay. Just a little window as to what I have open right now. And if I roll my mouse pointer over some things and it doesn't show me, a little window, that means that I have not clicked on that particular um, application or that particular shortcut to then open, um, either a file or a window. So only a few things. So I have a PowerPoint going. Of course, that was our initial welcome to, and I think I changed it after I started the session. Then, of course, here is the document that we've been going over. Um, Basically giving 15 minutes to these topics, right? And then here is my Microsoft Teams window. And some of you may see yourself on these little, little miniature windows there. Okay. And then, of course, I have my email open just in case someone emails me and I need to send them the link. All right. Anyone have any questions so far?
I do, Miss or Professor Jacob.
Yes.
So the link, let's say, is there anywhere that like I can put that instead of having to go back to that email to get in? Does that make sense? Like
To the meeting? To the meeting?
To our class.
Mm-hmm. So what you can do is when I made the class meetings or the virtual meetings available, let me get back to, I'm just going to show you my Teams window. Hold on just a second. Okay, so when I made the meeting available, the meeting actually should go to your KCTCS calendar. Okay. Also, like if you joined the class like with like a private email. Okay. I tried to also include your private email on the meeting request. So you could in effect go to your private email and there should be a link for you to join the class as well. But it is on your calendar, if that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Well,
Okay.
I
Good
got it.
question.
Yeah. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Good question. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my Teams window.
Hey, Miss Sherry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. This is Stephen Dixon. I just had trouble joining. I just had to call Greg, and he got me online. So sorry for
Okay.
being late. Okay.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So we pretty much understand the difference between our hardware and our software. Okay. And I would say this is the basic terminology. Now, you're not going to learn, you're not going to be an expert after this class. Okay. This is just a starting point to basic terminology and basic use. Okay. This should get you going. So after this class, of course, you're going to use this as a baseline to build your knowledge. Okay. Your knowledge and skill of computers. Okay. So that means the hardware and the software, it's going to improve. As long as you keep using it, it will keep getting better. Okay. Just like anything. Once you ride a bike the first time, right? You're not an expert, right? So the same thing with computers. You're not an expert, but day after day you get a little bit better, right? And within what, maybe 6 months to a year on a bike, you're pretty well versed on how to use it, right? So the same thing with your computer. All right. You're just building upon the knowledge and the skill. Okay. So next thing, we have Windows 10 operating system feature. Okay. So there, let me make this just a little bit bigger for you. And so we already sort of talked about our desktop. All right. Remember the example of me using the little minimize button in the upper right hand corner of your window. This basically takes that window down and basically drops it to your taskbar. Okay. Temporarily until you restore it. So that next button over here, either you want to maximize the window, meaning cover the entire window, or you want to restore it down to you know, its last setting. So like I just clicked on restore down, but because I'm sharing the screen, you didn't really see any changes, right? But my screen became a little bit smaller. It became the size that I had it the last time that I used it. So that's what that button is. But when you do restore down, it becomes maximize. So that button is called the maximize and restore down button. Okay. And then finally, that icon next to it, that X, that's the close. So if you have an open window is going to have those three icons in the upper right hand corner. Okay. Every open window is going to have those. Okay. And so I'm going to go to the desktop. So as I mentioned, you saw me click on the minimize. Okay. Earlier, I had a whole bunch of windows open because I shared my entire screen. Now let me share my desktop. Okay, now, did you see me actually click on any window? Did you see me click on any window? You know, the minimize button. I could have. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said I didn't.
Right. Okay, so I could have, right? Like if I had the my Microsoft Word document window open, I could have selected the minimize, right? And so do you see how small my window is in comparison to the desktop? I'm moving it around right now. That's my restored down size of my window that you did not see me actually restore down earlier. But if I was to click on minimize, it basically goes away. And now I see the desktop, right? Hold on just a moment, you guys. I'm going to try to bring, and sorry for my dogs if you hear them barking, they hear fire trucks. So they're out there howling away. Anyone have dogs in the class or pets?
Yep.
Awesome. So you know how they are, right? Okay, so you see all of these separate little windows that I have open right now on, on my computer. You see them all at once, and they sort of appear in the center of the screen, and they're not active yet, right? This is just showing me an inventory of what is open. Now, how I got there is I pressed the Alt key, held it down, and then I struck the Tab key. So that kind of shows me what windows I have used and are available to me right now. So how I'm you're seeing the little cutout. It's like a little white box really around the little windows, is I'm just using the Tab key. So I'm holding down the Alt key, striking the Tab key once to go to the next window. So if I wanted to bring, okay, Shanae, feel better. If I wanted to bring, say for instance, the Learn Computing Basics Word document up that I'm on right now, okay, I could release the Alt key and it would become available. Okay, so that's a feature of our operating system. Okay,
When I hit the Alt and Tab key, it goes to my calendar.
it would, because your calendar is what you have available, probably what you used last. Okay, so it's
Okay.
going to have your calendar. It's going to have your browser, probably if you're using Microsoft Teams in a browser, and any other application or software that you have available. Okay, so it's going to be different for every user.
Okay.
Okay, so Alt and Tab is a feature of our Windows desktop. Basically, our Windows operating system helps us to go in between or in and out of our open applications. Okay. All right, now I'm going to show you like all of the windows that I have open. We see I have my email open. I have the Word document open. Let's see. I have Teams open. Okay, I have basically two different windows in Teams that's open. Okay, so we see all of those windows, right? So there's one, there's another, and a few more behind it. So you can have multiple windows up and available, that you've used. And, it just depends on which one you want to come to the forefront is the one that's going to be the active window. All the other windows are inactive windows until it comes to the front. Okay, so there's a difference between an active window and an inactive window. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, say for instance, if I wanted one window to become the main window, I would use a feature of Windows called Arrow, AERO. And this is included on your on Blackboard. I included some of the shortcuts. I believe it's in the file management instructional document. Some of the shortcuts to do some of these things that I'm going to demonstrate today. So just know that you'll have it if you go through the instructional materials. But say, for instance, if I wanted the Google Chrome window, which is this one that I have email on. I also have Blackboard up, and that page that I was telling you about. Let me make that a little bigger. Okay, that gives you all the shortcuts. Okay. I'm not going to go over every single one of these today, but this is called the Arrow Shake app. It is included in your Windows operating system. So basically what that means is if I wanted this window to be the main window, I could simply click on the title bar. Okay. And the title bar is at the very top of every window. It's the one that has the name of the window on it. So all of these apps here, all of these windows I have open. Okay. But let's say I want this one to become the main one and I want all the others to be sort of minimized. Okay. I could click on any open space on the title bar and I could just simply move it from left to right. Okay. Just click, hold down my left mouse button and simply move from left to right. Did you see all of the windows go away in the background?
Mhm.
Okay, that's what it
But
does.
but we still have them open. I mean,
Yeah,
access to
they're
them
still down there.
Mhm.
They're still down there. So it's a way to sort of minimize everything. Now, you can also, another way to do that, to minimize all applications and get back to your desktop, is to use your Windows logo key that's on your keyboard. Okay, hold it down and strike the D as in dog key. Okay, so if you do that, it'll take you to your desktop. Okay, so that's basically minimize all applications, get back to the desktop. Okay, so
For
that's
that
a
when you do Control D.
no, you're going to use the Windows logo key. So
Oh.
it's a key that is on most keyboards. It's in between the Alt key and the Control key. So it looks like 4 separate little windows, and that is called the Windows logo key. Okay.
Gotcha.
So if you hold that down and strike the D for desktop key, okay, then it'll minimize all of those open windows
Sure.
and show you your desktop. Okay.
Okay.
So that's, some shortcuts. Like I said, I do provide you with in the instructional materials some other, shortcuts, okay, to getting some things done in Windows. Okay, this is by no means an exhaustive list. This is just some fun things that you might find helpful. Okay,
So
any
all of my
questions?
other windows I had open are gone, aren't they?
Well, excuse me, they are minimized. Okay, so if you roll your mouse pointer down on your taskbar, that little black bar at the bottom, if you roll your mouse pointer over those icons there, it'll if a little window appears, basically that means they're still open. So everything that I did that Control D with, it just showed me my desktop, but it kept all of my windows
Okay.
open. Okay, it didn't make them active, it just kept them open. Okay, so we see here I'm still using Teams. Okay, got 3 separate Teams windows going here. I've got a Google Chrome window open here. Okay, and I've got a Word window open. Okay, but that arrow shake is an app that is included in the your Windows operating system. Okay, so if you're running Windows 10, you have the arrow shake. You just simply go to the title bar, move it from left to right, and all of the other applications will minimize. The same with the Windows logo key and the D key on your keyboard. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our document here. And so we understand that our desktop is basically our starting point when we turn on our computer, right? Our taskbar is along the bottom of our desktop and contains the start button and your date and time. Okay. Over to the far right, you see the date and time. Okay. Now on our taskbar, we have the start button. Okay. That is our little Windows logo for our taskbar. Okay. It kind of mimics the Windows logo key on your keyboard, right? And so if you were to just press the Windows logo key on your keyboard, it would bring up your start menu. Okay. And if you tap that Windows logo key again, it will remove the start menu. Okay. So they're kind of related. Okay. So our start button basically gives us access to all our apps on our computer. How do I know that? When I click on the start button, I see basically an alphabetized list, I should say, of all of the different applications from A to Z that I have installed on my computer. Okay. Okay. Now you should also have a search bar. Okay. Now, a lot of you will see it along the bottom, your taskbar, and it will say type here to search. Okay. So let me minimize this. And you're going to see type here to search. That's considered your search bar. So what this allows you to do is to not only search for things on your computer, apps on your computer, but it also allows you to search for any documents that you've created, any websites, okay, and even more.
Oh, so you mean, so I saved my resume on here so I could type in and find my resume because so instead of trying to get that, that square when you save something or download something, it goes into that. So you can just search it here.
Yeah, you can. If you know the name of your file that you created, you can simply type it into there, and a list, basically an autocomplete list of things that are similar to what you've typed in should appear. Okay, so
syllabus just popped up. Everything that I've downloaded on here pops up. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Easy way to find it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Once you know it's there, that's the caveat there. Okay, so great question. Okay, so you should be able to type here to search anything, right? Now, if you need to find something, or you need to do some special things with files that you've created, then what you would want to use is File Explorer. Okay, and we'll go over how to use that as well. I want to make sure we get everything here. Okay, so search for any files. Apps, files, folders, websites, etc. And then your system tray. This is at the bottom right along your taskbar. Okay, that little black bar at the bottom. For most people, it's a black bar. It has your system clock, meaning the internal clock of your computer. Okay. Of course, it may show the date. It just depends on how it's set up. You're going to see your speakers and that what volume your speakers are. You're going to see, and you may have different things down here, but you should have a list of current programs, basically, that your computer is using. So let's say I'm on a laptop, okay, and so it's showing me my laptop's current battery power right now. Okay, so it's showing me that I have 1 minute to a full charge. Okay. But there are other things in here, and it's going to differ from computer user to computer user. Depends on what you have on your computer is what's going to show up here. But some things that we would have in common if you have a laptop would be, of course, your battery status. You would also see your internet connectivity. Okay, however you're accessing the internet. Okay, if you have any kind of antivirus software, I use Bitdefender, which is the top rated antivirus. Now I've used others. Okay, I've used Norton before. I've used McAfee. So it just depends on what you have. You may see different icons listed here. Okay. And I use Google Chrome a lot. So my Google Chrome is listed here. Okay. All right. And if you have any sort of cloud storage, it may appear in there as well. Of course, I'm using KCTCS OneDrive, and we'll get to some of that as well. So this is where you see your internet connection, system clock, date, battery or power usage, okay, etc. It just depends on what system you're using. Okay. Any questions with any of this? Okay. Now, like I said, this is basic. You're not expected to, you're not expected to be an expert. Okay. So just know that it's going to take a moment for you to get fully, used to everything. Okay. Okay. So if you have any questions, of course, you can pop them into the chat. Okay. So next we're going to move to our cloud storage. Okay. We've been talking about what benefit is our operating system. Okay. The biggest benefit is to be able to store our files. Okay. And I would say your cloud storage is sort of it's an extension of your operating system. It's another place to store your files or back up your files. Okay. So what we're going to do, hopefully you're in your MyPath. If you're not in your MyPath, go ahead and get into your MyPath. And we're going to just take a look around. So I'm going to share my path here. Give me a moment. So of course your MyPath is going to be in your Google Chrome browser window. Okay. And you may have multiple windows open or multiple tabs open in your browser. Okay. Now, MyPath is, as I mentioned at the beginning, a portal site. So it's going to link you to many different things that you have access to as a student at Jefferson. Okay. So one of those things, of course, excuse me, one of those things, of course, is Microsoft OneDrive. So it has like a little cloud image and it says OneDrive and it says your personal storage space for work and school files. Do we see that?
Hold on, I'm looking. Hold on.
Okay, you're fine. So once you see OneDrive, you want to click on OneDrive.
Hold on, Miss Sherry. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
So I'm back. Okay, I'm trying to get back to. So I'm in MyPath, KCTCS. So
it's one of the tiles that is in there. So you have email, Blackboard.
I don't see that page yet. I just see on the side I've got my my name, my activity stream, my course. How do I get back to?
Okay, you may be in a different tab. So if you're seeing the activity stream, you're probably in Blackboard. Okay. So let me try to mimic where you're at.
Let me go back out. I'll just arrow back out and see how that goes. See if it'll take me back to the beginning.
Okay. So is what you see on screen right now, is that where you're at, where it says KCTCS and courses? And then it has a long list of menu options along the left. Okay. So you're actually in Blackboard. Okay. Now, if you look at the tab probably to the left of where it says courses.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the top and left, you should see My Path Home. Do you see My Path Home anywhere?
Let me see. I'm on courses. Let me see.
Okay.
No, I don't see My Path Home.
Okay, that's fine. So do you see a plus sign to the right of courses where it says new tab or an
Yeah,
empty
ma'am,
tab?
I see a plus. I see a
Okay,
plus.
so click on the plus, and then when you click on the plus, just simply type in mypath.kctcs.edu. If you're logged into Blackboard, okay, it should automatically allow you into MyPath.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, so go. Okay, now I'm back. I'm there. Mm-hmm. And then you said go to OneDrive. Click on OneDrive.
Yes, OneDrive.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So OneDrive is the cloud storage solution for anyone who is running a Windows computer. And it's basically, you know, as I said, an extension of the storage capabilities on your individual computer. Okay. So back in the day, this is, of course, before the cloud was a thing. Um, the only thing that we had was, the storage space on our computer. Okay. And seemingly the price just kept going up and up and up and up for personal computers. Well, back before there were personal computers, there were computers called mainframe computers that basically took over the size of, what some people probably live in, 2,000 square foot, their whole house, right? And those computers, those mainframe computers just held so much data for a business or a governmental entity. Okay. And so, what personal computers allowed them to do was to give us a fraction of the storage space that a mainframe computer had. Okay. So we could then begin to bring, have that experience in our homes. Okay. So before there were personal computers or home computers, there were mainframe computers, vast computers that what made them vast was their storage space. Okay. Now, there are mainframe computers that still exist, of course. Okay. But mostly they're used by governmental entities or large, uh, organizations. Okay. And so those systems are considered to be legacy systems, meaning it's something that, you know, it's a relic of 30, 40 years ago, right? But in some instances, for some organizations and governmental units, it's probably the best thing, um, you know, to have and to use. Okay. Does that make sense? So we've kind of, I wouldn't say graduated, but we've sort of came, progressively through the whole, computing age just by starting with the larger ones, getting smaller. And now all of us have these mobile devices, right? Okay. And believe it or not, these mobile devices, each mobile device has basically the same power that was used to get man to the moon. Okay. Um, so they are extremely powerful. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, so how do we use OneDrive? Okay, at its simplest, OneDrive allows you to create folders, create files, um, and synchronize files between your personal computer and your OneDrive cloud storage account. Okay, so if you look on your screen, of course, my screen's going to be different. I've been using OneDrive for many years. Yours may be completely empty, but well, we have something in common. We all have a plus new button. Okay. And the plus new button has an arrow, a white arrow pointing down. So if you click on that, it shows you all of the different elements that are available using OneDrive. So that means you can create a new folder. You can create a new document. You can create an Excel workbook, a PowerPoint presentation, OneNote notebook, okay, and many other things, okay. So what exactly is a folder? A folder, if you think about an actual physical, and let me pull one out here. Like I spilled coffee on my folders last week. So if you think about a folder, okay, if you think about a folder, what does a folder do? Okay, that's an example of a manila folder. Okay, here's a folder that you're probably used to seeing, okay, as well. Okay, these are mostly used in business. These are mostly used in school, right? Same difference. What does a folder do? Anyone know? Want to take a guess?
It holds something.
Yeah, that's what
Right.
I say. It holds. It holds
Yeah.
some.
It holds something, and most often than not, it's going to hold some paper, right? And those papers are considered files. Okay. So, as far as Windows is concerned, or your cloud storage, okay, a folder is in itself a file. Okay. Um, it's a way to get to what's underneath, basically. It's a storage container. So if you click on folder on the list here, and as I said, I have many folders. So I'm going to try to make this one easier to remember. Let's think of something that we're doing. Um,
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna create one called computer or CIT folder.
yeah, you can certainly do that. Okay, so I'm going to create one, and you just pick, what you want to create. Okay, um, so we're going to create a new folder, and I'm just going to type in Learn OneDrive. Okay, and then I'm going to click on, and you can create a couple if you want to. Okay, once you type the name in, you just simply click create. Okay, so my folder's name was Learn OneDrive. Okay, for some of you, it could be CIT 105. It could be Louisville Urban League. Okay, it could be anything. Now, when you create a new folder in OneDrive, let me make it
Can
just
I, if I didn't
bigger.
put the 105 in there, Miss Sherry, how can I do that? Go back and do it.
Okay, if you forgot or neglected to add something into the name of it, you can simply right click on that folder and then select rename.
I don't see. I didn't get that option. I got share copy link, manage access, download,
Yeah, just
delete.
come all the way down, and it's right under copy to. It's rename.
Shucks. No, I don't want to copy to. Can't see rename. I wonder why.
Yeah, you can also, hold on.
Because that bottom, oh, let me pull it up. Hold on one second. My bad. Now I can. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry
you're
about
good.
that. I
Okay.
got it. Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, you also should be able to use your F2 key. Okay, your F2 key is basically universally known as an edit key. So if you're not able to see the rename, you should be able to use F2. But you should be able to see the rename.
Okay,
All right.
got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So once you create a folder, you're going to see little lines, like 3 little lines, go to the left of the folder name, and that just lets you know that this is the newest item that was added in your cloud storage. Okay, so once you have the file name, you simply create or click on the folder name, okay, or the folder itself to open it up, okay, so that you can see that it's basically empty, okay, and you'll see initially this little icon that says drag files here. So what does that mean? That means anything that you have saved to your computer, you can then click on it and drag it to this area, and it will save or be stored in this area.
How can I
Okay.
get my syllabus in there?
Okay. And so where is your syllabus located? Do you know?
God only knows. So if I go down in my white search bar down there at the very bottom and type in syllabus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does anything appear to the right of syllabus?
It says location user. It's in my downloads.
Okay. So what you want to do is you want to bring up your File Explorer. So on your taskbar, there should be an image of a folder with a little blue handle. It looks like it's holding the folder. Okay, if you click on that, you're going to see along the left-hand side an area for downloads. Okay, so you click on downloads. And everything that you've downloaded lately is going to be in there. Okay. So you should be able to click and drag that to the window that's behind, which is your OneDrive. So let's say, for instance, if I wanted to bring Troy's tutoring flyer back here to my window that leads to OneDrive, I can simply click and drag it, click using my left mouse button, hold it down, and then drag it into this open white space that says drag files here, and release.
Love it. Done it.
Okay. So once you drop it, that's what that's called, when you drag it and bring it into that white space. That's called dropping it. So that's a drag and drop operation, if that makes sense. So then you should see that that file is now available. So how would you know if it's actually available in that area? We see here that my files, I created the Learn OneDrive folder. Okay. This is considered to be a path. Okay, a path to a storage, area where I can find this file. Okay, so I simply click on the file to bring it up. Okay, And there we have the file. And it's trying to come up. And I may just have way too much open, but it's coming. So Troy, are you on here?
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. So if you need extra help, of course, giving a plug for Troy. Troy's great. He can help you, learn all of this stuff. Okay. Again, this is very basic. Troy is your dedicated tutor for the class. Okay. So, and then I just opened up the file. If you want to close it, every file that you open, of course, in OneDrive, because it's cloud-based or web-based, it's going to create a new tab, and that new tab has an X on it. So you can click the X and it should take you back to your OneDrive. Okay. So what if I wanted to create a file starting from OneDrive? So I simply return to this plus new little button. And if I wanted to create a new Word document, I could right within OneDrive, Excel, PowerPoint. Okay. Now you will notice that Microsoft Access, which is our next unit that we will cover, is not on this list. Microsoft Access is not cloud-based. And actually, it's a good thing, because Microsoft Access, if you were to get databases from strange people, it could contain viruses. So you definitely don't want to do that. Now, I will say that once we get to that unit, we will cover the uh, safety measures, okay, to know if a file is safe and things like that. Everything that you get from SimNet, of course, is safe and has been tested and everything. So it's trustworthy. It's from a trustworthy source. All right. But you will notice that Access does not appear here. Okay. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, that's just about it of the applications that we will use this semester. All right. Any questions?
No, but Professor Jacob, remember when I emailed you about when we clicked on the syllabus, that folder, and it took me straight to that canvas?
Mm-hmm.
It still does that. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's weird. Where were you when that happened?
So
You were
when
in the class?
when I go to course, that's how I go into my class or into the work that we have to do. So I go in from Blackboard, I go through courses, and maybe you could tell me a different way. And then let me see. My two courses pop up. I have.
And then you click on the Intro to Computers.
Yes, ma'am. Click on that. And then if I go to, and then hold on, it's coming up. In my Start Here folder, my very first one, I went to that, and then Read Me First. I go to that, and then I'm going down. And so I'm trying to go under navigation where it says folders. I click on folders, and it takes me to this canvas, free for teachers.
Where is your, I lost you at the Start Here. So where in Start Here, where did you click?
On okay, so now hold on.
So I see the replay of our first class.
Read Me First. I went to Read Me First.
Okay.
Did anyone else get that? Do that? And then scroll down.
Okay.
Now click on folders. Wait a minute.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that shouldn't be there. Thank you for alerting me to that. Yeah, that's weird. So I'll correct that now. Yeah, that was just supposed to be underlined. So I'm not for sure where the canvas comes from. We've never used Canvas
Okay.
at, any KCTCS. Yeah, so I'm not for sure. Um, yeah, let me just remove the, okay.
Okay. So now, how would I get to my courses? So go to.
Well, you're still in courses. If
Mhm.
you're in the read me first,
Yeah. Okay.
okay, just click on the little blue
Yeah.
square with the white X.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to get
And
back.
just go to the next thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After I go to
Okay.
read me first, what success looks like, and then introduce ourselves and introduction to voice thread. And then, okay.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, this is what I'll be talking to someone about today. Like once you go in one of these, there's nothing right now like a next button. You know what I'm saying? That would make logical sense for me for there to be a next button so that you wouldn't have to use the X each time and go to the next document. So I'm going to be talking to someone today with Blackboard to see if, I can add a next button somewhere.
Mhm.
Um, because this is a fairly new version of Blackboard. And so it has all kind of neat little features. So I'm hoping to learn more as well. Learning never stops with computers. Okay. So even Professor Jacob learns every single day new stuff.
And I had
Okay.
another question, Professor
Sure.
Jacob.
Go ahead.
You might have already said this and I just missed it. Are we going to be tested?
Tested with what?
Are we going to have test? Or are
Well, in this class, your tests are really going to come in the form of projects. So after you go through the instruction for, different projects that will come up for Access, Excel, PowerPoint, and Word, you have basically 2 projects per unit to complete. So that's how you will be tested. Basically, you will be given some instructions and you're going to carry out those instructions
okay.
using the software that we're using for the class.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but there are no timed tests if
Okay.
that's what you're asking. Okay.
Because I do awful on tests. It's just the word, it just does awful.
Yeah, I get it. I used to be like that as well. I think probably I didn't come out of my you know, testing, you know, anxiety and tech just
Yeah.
terrible. Yeah, I didn't come out of that probably until grad school. That's when I
That was
that's
you
when
taking
I
a tough test by then, Lordy.
yeah. But one thing that I did learn in my undergraduate experience was to overstudy. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone was to just ask me a question, I could, you know what I'm saying? And I would say that's probably when it turned a little bit, but I still, even my last semester in undergrad, you know, I failed tests too. So you're not alone.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, so one of the things, and I know we're running out of time, one of the most important things that I want to cover for Google Chrome. I know we were supposed to spend 15 minutes on the Google Chrome browser, but we'll have more time in the semester to talk about the Google Chrome browser, which is the recommended browser for the class. And so one of the most important things is when you're using SimNet, okay, when you're going into these SimNet activities and your first one is going to come, let me collapse, start here and get into Learn Computing Basics. So your first SimNet or set of SimNet activities is going to come in to Learning Computing Basics, and it's called Intro to Computers. Okay, when you're using these SimNet activities, these are simulated exercises. Okay, and it takes up a lot of space. So the most important thing that you can do for yourself is to clear your browser history. Okay, so what you want to do to clear your browser history is, of course, go to the Customize and Control Google Chrome little button. It's a 3-dot vertical button. You click on that and get to your history. And that first little line there, history, and it says Control H. If you tap on it, it's going to give you the ability to clear your browsing data. Okay, clear your browsing data. So once you click on clear browsing data, and of course you don't want to actually clear it while we're in the session today, but I'm just sort of demonstrating. Once you click on the clear browsing data on the left side, in the center of your screen is going to be another clear data little button. You may have to click it twice. Of course, don't do it now. But let's say, for instance, after you finish one simulated exercise or assignment with SimNet, I would, if I were you, go ahead and get into the habit of clearing data. Okay. Now, what this data is anytime you go to a website, your browser stores this information. Okay. And it stores it so that the next time you access those same images or files on those websites, that it's that much easier, for the website to come up. But pretty much every single assignment that you access through SimNet is going to be different. Okay, and it's just better to clear your data. Get into the habit of doing that after every single assignment that you do. That way you won't run into problems. So if you do experience some really crazy stuff, happening on your computer with your SimNet activities, your first option is, of course, to clear the data. You clear data, everything should be working. Okay, perfectly well. All right. So that's just one thing that I want you to be mindful of. Okay. Any questions with the clear data? Okay. And believe it or not, I'm going to click cancel on here. But believe it or not, we did get through everything that, that I wanted us to get through, that I deem as, super important to be successful in this particular unit. Okay. So we got through all of our, 4 objectives today. So, but if you have any questions, of course, you can always email me, sherry.jacob@kctcs.edu, or you can consult with your dedicated tutor, Troy Rice, and he can definitely help you with that. Of course, this session is going to be recorded, or it has been recorded this whole time, and so you'll be able to go into that Learn Computing Basics area and actually, look at this video, look at this recording again. So if there was anything that, you were not sure about, you'll be able to, go back and replay it if you need to. Okay. Any questions? Any questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Sure, go ahead.
When I was doing my homework on step 4, I think, or 3, I had trouble getting to that voice thread, the actual, app to do it.
Okay, we're so you clicked on the introductions voice thread,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
what came up for you?
Um, I don't know. I guess I could just go to it live while I'm on the phone with you, and I mean on this meeting with you, and see what happens.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I
VoiceThread
couldn't.
is integrated with Blackboard.
Okay.
So there shouldn't be any issues with VoiceThread coming up for you. It's just like SimNet, it's integrated. I would say if you have any problems seeing VoiceThread, you may want to contact um, Blackboard technical support. And that information is included in your class syllabus.
Now, okay, so I'm at it right now. So I'm at Blackboard. So I don't see a like an icon to click on voice thread.
Okay.
Would I go to tools or
Now, what you're going to do is you're going to stay in the center of your screen
okay,
on Blackboard. And let
okay,
me show you here. Let me.
okay,
So you're going to stay in the center of your screen. Let me get into student preview mode so you'll know exactly what to do.
okay,
So everything that, all the instructional materials, all of your assignments are going to be in the center of uh, your uh, your class.
okay.
Okay, so where it says course content.
Mm-hmm.
So when you click on start here,
Right.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you get down to the introductions voice thread.
Right.
When you click on that, there's going to be a little window that pops up along the right, and it's going to tell you, of course, everything is due, at the very end, right? I
Right.
left it open.
Okay.
But down at the bottom here, you see a little button that says launch.
Right. Okay.
Okay. When you click on launch, then your voice thread, your introductions voice thread should become available. So like I said, it's integrated into Blackboard. So it should come up automatically.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So there's nothing, on that details and actions menu that's going to get you to your assignments. All of your assignments are in that main course content area where you see the folders. Start here, learn computing basics, learn, how to create simple databases. So
Okay.
everything is there in the center.
Okay. All
Okay,
right. All right. Thank you.
awesome. Sure. And this was just the last one that I was in. So that's why that came up first. But this is actually slide 5. So you want
Okay.
to go use the back arrow here. If you happen to get into a slide or a voice thread that's already at another slide other than one. So it started me where I left off. So that's
Okay.
basically why you saw slide 5
Okay. All
on
right.
this. Okay,
So,
great
Professor
question.
Jacobs, while you're
Yes.
talking now, I got to get off here. Are we about done?
Yes, we
Oh,
are.
well, about the voice thread. So, if we weren't in class, we would subscribe to it to have us our own account, right? We're just using the one we're doing through class right now. But if I wanted
Yes.
to have a voice thread, I subscribe to it.
I don't know how that works. I would say probably if you needed it for some external organization,
Or
you would
something.
have to contact VoiceThread, either their sales or their technical support to see how you could get that. We actually don't have anything to do with that. The system KCTCS actually basically bought a license for
Okay.
the entire system, all the community colleges in the state. So, we had no choice, you know what I'm saying, as
Mhm.
far as what we could use. We just have the
Okay.
tools available and we use them. So
Okay.
if you needed it for your organization where you work or something like that, then you would have to contact VoiceThread yourself. And so you just simply go to voicethread.com and there should be some information on how to contact them, if that helps.
Because it probably costs, doesn't it? I'm sure.
You know, I have no idea. It's possible they could have some freebies. A lot of, you know, a lot of tools online do have freebies for a certain period of time, like a trial period. But I would say if KCTCS had to buy a license, but of course we have like 100,000 users, so that's gonna, you know, change the cost structure a little bit. So, okay. Any other questions? Okay. So if you want to stay on, and you know, if you have any additional questions, I'm just going to stop the recording, and you can definitely stay on.
So, Mr.